Chapter 3 analyses the strategic environment, which is the first task of both prescriptive and emergent strategic processes. In addition to the material in the book itself, the open access website for Chapter 3 has some additional material. There's a summary of 6 political and economic trends that have affected strategic management. There's more depth on analysing the role of government for strategic environmental analysis. There are also 10 questions to help identify key factors for success in an industry, and finally there's also a section exploring the nature and intensity of competition in an industry. And now to Chapter 3 of the book itself. It's useful to explore the strategic environment under 9 separate headings. To explore these concepts, we can take an example of environmental strategic analysis from the book's free website material on the global steel industry, focusing particularly on ArcelorMittal, the big European-based steel company. The first area for strategic environmental analysis is market basics. This has 3 parts: the size of the market, the growth or decline of the market, and the market share, not only of the company that we are interested in, but also rival companies. In brief, the underpinning logic here is that strategy is more likely to be effective if the company has a large market share and the market is growing. However, this really oversimplifies strategy. There are many effective strategies in other situations. Looking at the market basics for steel, we can see that ArcelorMittal has the largest market share in Europe, but a more limited share in Asia. The Asian market is continuing to grow, but the European and American markets at the time of making this recording are essentially static or declining. ArcelorMittal therefore has a strong position in Europe, but is not necessarily a global company. And that's one of the things you might want to explore further in the full global steel case. One of the issues here is how you define the market for steel products. Is it one global market, or is it a series of regional markets like Europe, America, Asia? Market definition is crucial to strategy environmental analysis. Turning to number 2 on the degree of turbulence in the marketplace, some markets are highly turbulent and require different strategies from those markets that are more static, measured on a scale from 5 highly turbulent to 1 low turbulence. For example, the global steel market has become more turbulent as the world economy has declined. But it's not necessarily true that the market is highly turbulent, like some internet markets with their high degrees of uncertainty. Therefore, turbulence in steel is somewhere around number 3, compared perhaps to markets for the internet at number 5 and number 1 for mature markets like those for chocolate products. Number 3 concerns the background factors that influence the competitive environment. This is often called PESTEL analysis, and here you should know that PESTEL, P-E-S-T-E-L, is simply a checklist. It has no underpinning logic, unlike, for example, the famous 5 forces analysis, which does have an underpinning logic. This lack of logic is important in strategy because it makes it difficult to structure a PESTEL analysis. In practice, the background factors that will influence steel include politics, where governments are very concerned with national steel industries; economics, with the possible changes in world steel demand; technology will also be an important factor here because of the need to develop and manufacture specialist steels with higher profit margins. Looking at number 4, this is the industry life cycle analysis. Markets start, they grow and they decline, with different strategies needed at each phase. The evidence shows over time that the steel industry is growing and then declining, growing and then declining. Therefore, it is cyclical in the industry life cycle. For strategy environmental factor number 5, we have key factors for success in the industry. Note that these are the strategies that are important for the whole industry and not for a specific company. What areas of strategy does every company in the industry need to get right for an effective strategy? For example, in the global steel industry, economies of scale will be very important, and these are described in the web-based case. Also, energy costs such as coal will be important as a key factor for success because of the high energy usage in steel making. A further key factor will be the price of iron ore used to make steel. It is a commodity that rises and falls with supply and demand around the world. Looking at number 6, we have the famous 5 forces analysis. We need to analyse the market power of each of the 5 elements of market forces. For this short video, we focus on only 2 elements. Steel buyers include car companies and construction companies. Such buyers have strong bargaining power with the steel companies because of the quantities of steel that the customers buy from the steel companies. In addition, suppliers of coal and iron ore also have strong bargaining power with the steel companies because these elements of steel make up a high percentage of the total costs of producing steel, and there are relatively few suppliers of coal and iron ore, especially iron ore. Number 7 focuses on cooperation with the 4 links analysis. Some strategies are considerably better if companies can cooperate with other institutions as well as competing. The 5 forces analysis, based only on competition, misses the cooperation concept entirely. For steel, links with the national and regional governments who are anxious to promote their national steel companies are extremely important, and there may be other linkages as well. Number 8 is an analysis of some immediate competitors. ArcelorMittal will be undertaking this task all the time. They will examine the competitive strength of rivals like Chorus in the UK and Netherlands. For example, they will be looking at the acquisition activities of their rivals and the investment in new steel plant of their rivals. Number 9 is customer analysis. This element is crucial because ultimately it is the customers who buy the product or service. Arguably, this element could therefore be number 1 in any strategic environmental analysis. It's been placed last only because it is at the core of the organisation's strategy and is therefore the ultimate endpoint of all the other 8 elements of analysis. Fundamentally, customer analysis develops an understanding of the customer, but it goes further by differentiating customer needs into segments of the market. Strategy then analyses where companies are positioned in each segment. For example, within the global steel industry, customer analysis is crucial because there are various market segments with quite different customers. Contrast basic steels used in making steel poles, which are very simple, with speciality steels used in aircraft engines, which are very complex. Even within these segments, there are smaller market sub-segments that will allow steel companies to position their products against their rivals. And there are more details in the global steel case on the web.